The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of 580 WCHS or West Virginia Radio Corporation.
And a very pleasant good morning to you. You're listening to Ask the Expert, WCHS, the voice of Charleston. I'm Dale Cooper. Thank you so much for tuning in on what is so far a very beautiful Tuesday morning. It's pretty sunny outside, or at least not overly overcast. It's warm, already kind of warm, so you want to be aware of that as you're dressing for work today. You might not want to go with too heavy woolen clothes or something along those lines. But it's going to be a gorgeous day. It's going to be hot again. As we are waiting for autumn to transition, finally, we had that pretend autumn a couple of weeks ago. But thanks for tuning in this morning. I'm Dale Cooper, and this is Ask the Expert on 580 WCHS, the voice of Charleston. Very interested in our show this morning. I've been looking forward to it ever since I added it to the calendar. Stuart Frazier's here. He's the marketing coordinator with the Kanawha Public Library, and we're going to be talking all things library this morning. And by the way, if you have any questions, you can give us a call. Our great public library is a fantastic resource for the community, and you might have some questions about that. 345-5858, 345-5858. You can find out more about the Kanawha Library online. It's kanawhalibrary.org, kanawhalibrary.org. We'll have plenty of other information as the day goes on. Stuart, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I appreciate you taking time out this morning and coming in and sharing some of your experiences with the library. As the marketing coordinator, you know everything that's going on over there. So I'm really looking forward to our discussion this morning. Tell me just a little bit about yourself first. How long have you worked at the library?
Well, I've been at the library for about 4 years now. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, so I don't.
Are you a Reds fan?
I have to be.
Me too.
I came up on it, Reds, Bengals, all that kind of stuff. I moved here to Charleston in about 2006, so I'm coming into my own around here.
I hear you, man. Well, you've been here for a while now, and have you always been drawn to projects like employment and projects and outreach like the library, like the types of it's really a diverse place where you can work. There's a lot of different avenues that can go down towards into the community. Obviously, the library's the heart and soul of it is lending books, but that's changed in the modern era quite a bit.
It has been, but in a lot of ways, the library changes with it. We have not only books, but we have music, we have movies, we have lots of online resources that people can access for free. You're able to find ways to help find employment, to help you with your homework. Kids can help with their homework. Research all sorts of different topics and things that are going on, in the world. We have ways to download magazines. We have so many different resources that are available for free, and so many programs that go on throughout the year. We have about 2,300 programs a year throughout all of our branches. Yeah, so there's always something going on in the library, and 99% of it is absolutely free.
And if you want to just take a look, you can go over to the website kanawhalibrary.org. Take a look at just the activities section, the events that are coming up, and you can see every day there's just so much stuff that are going on for all age ranges. And you guys advertise with us quite a bit, and so I get to hear about the different things that are going on. But literally anything from like we were talking before we went on the air, from toddlers, from little ones, all the way up to our elder population. There's something to do at the library all the time.
Oh, absolutely, and we really pride ourselves on that. We want to be an institution where the community feels welcome. Where whoever you are, no matter what, you can come in, find something that you enjoy, get entertained, find information, do whatever, and like I said, most of it is for free.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And for folks that maybe think, well, in this day and age of the internet, I can download whatever I want, et cetera, et cetera. That might work for you. Some people don't have those resources, but I have to say that although it was pre-internet, there was a couple times that I circumvented the country, where I drove around the country, and in doing that, I had to lay out my path. I had to figure out the things I wanted to see and things along those lines. And both times, I planned those trips right at the Kanawha Public Library. I came in and got different atlases, different book referencing different states to try to find like historical things, because it wasn't easy to find back in those days. And so that's how I planned out my trips when I went across country. And even to this day, if I'm doing some sort of research like that, sure, I have a bunch of tabs up on my browser, and I try to save different things and organize. But having things physically laid out in front of me where I can physically take notes, and then maybe I incorporate it digitally a little bit later, but it's still, to me, easier to do research in that way.
Absolutely. absolutely. We say that, you can use Google to find a lot of answers, but to find the right answer, you go to the library.
Yeah, I like that. I like that quite a bit. Well, I want to just kind of give you an open floor a little bit. Tell me a little bit what's going on in the library, things that you have that you're excited about. I know we have the book fair coming up. The author lineup for the book fair is incredible. So just tell me what you want to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, so, talking about the book festival, that's coming up October 4th and 5th at the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center. Again, this is absolutely free admission, free for everyone to come in, open for all ages. And we have a lot of really exciting authors coming in, best-selling authors. Many people have probably seen already. We have authors like James Patterson coming in, Selena Yoon, Orson Scott Card, Anthony Harkins and Meredith McCarroll, as well as Denise Kiernan, who will be delivering the Humanities Council lecture. During that weekend. So as well as a whole lot of other local authors and other regional authors coming in to sort of present and do a lot of different things of that nature. On top of the authors, we have writing workshops that are free. So people who are interested in writing or want to know about how to get a book published or how to write a children's book or things of that nature. We have a number of writing workshops available, again, absolutely for free. We have children's activities coming up as well. We have a whole marketplace full of book items and book lovers and writers things going on. And, of course, we have our huge used book sale, which is it's been very popular the past few years, and we just keep adding to it. Thousands and thousands of books, movies, CDs, music, all that kind of good stuff, for very low prices. People come out.
If you've never been to this thing, it's gargantuan.
It's
huge,
it's
so big.
It's really big. I think someone described it as like being in the Hunger Games. You just elbowing people out the way to get to books and things. But it's really great.
I've already got the children's section. In my mind's eye, I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do to get there because baby Essie needs some new books.
Right.
So the used book sale is going to be on Saturday, October the 5th, and that's the only day of the used book sale, right? So it's going to be from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., and then you'll have kind of some more aggressive pricing after 3 to try to get rid of some of your inventory.
Exactly.
Right? But you want to get there before that because you might think you're being clever and waiting. It's only a few cents or a buck difference, and if you want to get that book, just go ahead and get it. Don't try to wait until after 3 necessarily to do that.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. You mentioned about workshops for writing, teaching writing and publishing and different things along those lines. And one of the things that I'm amazed at, and I've been kind of on the periphery of the book industry for a long time. I owned a multimedia series of businesses in Michigan and Alabama and West Virginia. We had one here for a while. Was huge into the book industry, and one of the things I dabbled in a little bit was trying to help authors get published and, maybe sell stuff out of my locations and stuff. Never really got it up and going. But that's one of those things that if you have the proper workshop and you make the proper connections, it's easier now to get published than really it ever has been. If you have an idea and if you're a talented writer, you can get published.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's self-publishing as well. So, yeah. And I think these writing workshops that we have sort of give people the building blocks, the foundation that they can at least get started, get their ideas out on paper or on screen or whatever you want to do it, and get connected, like you said, to publishers and find ways to get your book out there. And as well as being in the marketplace that we have will have a lot of publishers out there as well promoting their own books. But then, if you're able to walk by a table or a booth and, leave your card or speak to somebody, that's another way to just get connected and get your foot in the door.
That's great information this morning. I'm having a fun time with our conversation with Stuart Frazier. He's the marketing coordinator with the Kanawha Library. You can give us a call this morning if you have any questions, 304-345-5858. We're talking about the book festival right now, which is coming up on October 4th and 5th. You can find out more information online about that, wvbookfestival.org. That's wvbookfestival.org. If you just click over to the schedule, holy cow, that's only 2 days. This looks like a week full of events, man. There's so much stuff in here. But and we were talking about the writers' workshop and different things along those lines. But for folks, you bring in these great authors that come in. I've read books from I think at least 3 or 4 of the authors that you have that are coming in, and that's obviously one of the draws. I know in the past we've had Neil Gaiman down there, and there's been some great authors that have come through. Explain a little bit about how when the events where you get to interact with these authors, exactly what happens, what kind of presentations are there, and things along those lines.
Well, each author has their own basically unique presentation, but a lot of times they'll get up, they'll say, they'll make some remarks, talk about their book, talk about a little bit about their life sometimes, or how they decide to write this particular book, or go into depth about this particular character in the book, that kind of stuff, and then afterwards, they'll sit and sign books. So that's one of the most exciting parts that we have our authors come in for, and the crowd really likes it. Going up, being able to reach out and shake your favorite author's hand, or have them sign a book, or take a picture with them, or whatever their thing is. We had last year R.L. Stein come in.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. And he signed book, man. This man signed books for about 3 hours straight. There was just a huge line of people, and he kept signing and signing. He had like chips on the side, trying to keep his energy up, and kept going on and on. That's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about somebody like R.L. Stein, because he's right in the kind of the cross section of that, the young adult author and teens still read him, and frankly, there's a lot of, I ran a bookstore. I know there's a lot of adults that are coming in like, man, I need that Goosebumps book that I read when I was a kid. A lot of people still do it. And from nostalgia all the way down to current young readers that are reading, everybody wants his autograph. So I could imagine that. And even somebody like Orson Scott Card, who writes mostly science fiction genre, but like Ender's Game is, it's not a kid's book, but it deals a lot with children, and I think that probably preteens and going into teens probably really identify a lot with what's going on in Ender's Game, and he's had so many great books. James Patterson, how many great, for a while there, he was one of those hot properties in Hollywood where about every other movie coming out was a James Patterson movie, probably starring Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, exactly.
But, and so it's nice to see. I know James Patterson has done a lot of writing with co-authors in the last, decade or so, probably at least. Right. But it's nice to see him out, and he's more or less the headliner. He has the 3:00 Sunday slot, I think, right?
Right. Yeah, he's the headliner. He's going to close out the event, I believe. So,
and I find that these the different presentations you have, and they're scattered over the 2 days, right? Or is all the authors on Sunday or Saturday?
It's over the 2 days, I believe.
Okay, they are. It's Friday and Saturday, not Saturday and Sunday, by the way. I misspoke just a second ago. Yeah. But it's just going down through here. There's so many different things to talk about. It's kind of hard to bring them all up. But I just think it's important that folks understand that these resources are out there. The different things, when you look at just going to the schedule of the West Virginia Book Festival and seeing everything that's there, it's all free. You can make an entire weekend and not have to spend $1. Well, you probably want to get something to eat while you're out. Go to one of our fine local establishments downtown. But anyway, you really can. You can come downtown. You can bring the family with you. You can pop in and out of these some of the different workshops, some of the different lectures that are being given. Stop by the retail where you're selling the books, and before you know it, you have a 3 or 4 hour day each day of the weekend, and your weekend set. That's a pretty nice thing to offer in the area.
Oh, absolutely, and we get a large crowd coming through the book festival almost every year. Like you say, kids, adults, teens, everything, and people really seem to enjoy it. So that's why we keep doing it. We want to again just provide opportunities for our community to enjoy their literary heroes and be able to reach out and learn more about books, learn more about writing, and develop themselves and just have a good time in downtown Charleston.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty great. Couple other things I want to touch about as far as the book festival goes. I talked about James Patterson and Orson Scott Card, but I just want to give a mention to the other authors that are going to be there that I might be slightly less familiar with or be able to talk off the top of my head. Selena Yoon, tell me a little bit about her.
Yeah, well, Selena Yoon is an award-winning and best-selling author and illustrator. She's written over 160 children's books and have sold about 4 million books worldwide. So she's our premier children's book author right there. She's mostly known for her penguin books. Her character is a little penguin who goes on little adventures and things of that nature. So she'll be coming in. I believe let me check her. Yeah, her presentation is on Saturday at 1:00. So, if if you're familiar with Selena Yoon, or if you want to get your kids introduced to some really great books and really great author, I mean, Selena Yoon is someone who you can definitely check out her presentation, and she'll also be signing books after her presentation as well.
Anthony Harkins is going to be there as well. Now he's from Kentucky, or he actually I think is a professor at Western Kentucky, and he has that book. And actually, this has been something that. You know what it's like having a new baby. You just don't get a chance to read anymore. That's just the thing. Every time I open up a book, I get like a page in, and then it's something else. And then the book gets stuck under a cushion, and then maybe under a toy, and then I find it 2 weeks later. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I read 2 pages of that. Oh, I'll never get caught up. So, A Cultural History of American Icon, Hillbilly, which is Anthony Harkins' book. That's one that I've read about before. Okay. And I haven't read it, but I've read about it before. It's something I've always wanted to read. But tell me a little bit about him. I think he's kind of an interesting guy.
Yeah. He's a professor at Western Kentucky University, and he's teaches in pop culture and other history and then things of that nature, especially around the Appalachian area. Him and Meredith McCarroll have worked together on a book called Appalachian Reckoning, which is essentially the response to J.D. Vance's book.
Yeah, the Hillbilly Elegy. Yeah, right.
So, apparently they didn't take too kindly to that book. So they gathered essays really for Appalachian Reckoning to sort of respond to that, and they'll be speaking on that process and other types of Appalachian folklore and whatnot.
That's really one of the things I've looked forward to, because the Hillbilly Elegy is one of those books that I read, and it was a little infuriating. Putting all my cards on the table, I grew up in West Virginia, moved away for about 12 or 13 years, and then came back. But I consider myself a West Virginia guy, and I grew up here, grew up in fairly modest conditions, not in the rural areas. I grew up more in the city, but still. In reading that, that had an inauthentic side, I believe, that I was hoping there would be a response for when it first came out, and now there is, and I think that's pretty exciting. Again, that reading those collection of essays is something that I've had kind of flagged for a while. I haven't got around to it, but I am looking forward to it. I sound terrible about this.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But it really is something I've fallen behind on. So it's an interesting perspective anyway. Regardless of what you think about that, it's a different finding the different perspectives, and then the rich cultural history in Appalachia is one of those things that having a presentation on is kind of interesting to go to anyway. My wife is big into Appalachian history, recipes, different things along those lines, short stories, folk tales, horror stories, and the different things that come from Appalachia. So having a place where you can go and you hear people discuss these things, if you're proud of our region, which you should be, I mean, that's a good thing to get to. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Let's see. I don't want to. Well, actually, let's do this. Let's go ahead and take our break. We still have plenty of stuff to talk about when we come back. We want to get our one break out of the way. Talking a little bit about the book festival that's coming up on October 4th and 5th, also about the Kanawha Public Library. We're going to delve down a little bit more into the activities at the library, remind folks of the things you can do at the library, the reasons you might want to come back. Because I guarantee you, probably everybody that's listening has been to the library at some point or the other, and maybe you don't know exactly what the modern library has for you. So we're going to discuss that a little bit more when we come back. We're going to take a break and be back right after this. You're listening to Ask the Expert this morning. I'm Dale Cooper. Stuart Frazier is here. He's the marketing coordinator with the Kanawha Public Library. Your phone calls, if you want to call in, 304-345-5858, 304-345-5858. You can find out more information, kanawhalibrary.org, kanawhalibrary.org. We'll be back right after this on 580 WCHS, the voice of Charleston.
Raise your space and science IQ every Sunday night with Planetary Radio on 580 WCHS. Planetary Radio visits with the scientists, astronauts, and space leaders with exciting perspectives on the exploration of our solar system and beyond. I'm Matt Kaplan. Join me, Bill Nye the Science Guy, and other Planetary Society colleagues as we travel the universe. That's Planetary Radio, Sunday nights at 9:30 on the Voice of Charleston, 580 WCHS, and 96.5 FM.
Hey everybody, Chris Lawrence here, inviting you to join me this and every Saturday morning on 580 WCHS for West Virginia Outdoors, presented by the Peyton Law Firm. I've got the very latest information of interest to West Virginia sportsmen and some really cool outdoor stories from all over the great Mountain State. Plus, if you can't catch us on Saturday, don't forget the replay at 5 o'clock Sunday afternoon. It's West Virginia Outdoors, presented by the Peyton Law Firm and brought to you in part by Rodney Loftus and Son Contracting on the Voice of Charleston, 580 WCHS.
Good morning. Clearing in progress for an accident in the work zone on I-77 southbound, mile marker 113 between Tuppers Creek and Pocatalico. Traffic is backed up on Corridor G, Route 119 coming into Charleston. The right lane is closed due to work taking place on McCorkle Avenue, Route 61, and congestion and delays on I-64 eastbound heading into the city of Charleston this morning. Traffic brought to you by City National Bank, where you can get a home equity line of credit with rates starting below prime. Equal housing lender. I'm Jeannie Kay from the WCHS Radio Network Traffic Studio.
You're listening to Ask the Expert, WCHS, the voice of Charleston. I'm Dale Cooper. Thank you so much for tuning in on this beautiful Tuesday morning. And I'm having a great discussion this morning. Well, I think it's a great discussion because I love books. Stuart Frazier is here. He's the marketing coordinator with the Kanawha Public Library. More information online, kanawhalibrary.org, kanawhalibrary.org. We're also talking about the West Virginia Book Festival that's coming up on October 4th and 5th, where you can find more information, wvbookfestival.org, wvbookfestival.org. We touched on the lineup of the authors that are going to be there, different workshops there's going to be, circling back around. The headliner of the event is really James Patterson. This guy's been a best-selling author for decades. Long Came a Spider, Kiss the Girls. I mean, so many great novels that he's written over time. A very popular author. I know for a fact, because I sold books in this area before, there's going to be a lot of people that want to get their book signed by James Patterson. And he will sign books, but there is a little bit of a process to it.
Yes. He has a little bit of a scheduling constraint on him, so there's a very specific way that he will be signing books. So if you want your book signed, please listen to this very closely. Okay, so James Patterson will sign a limited number of books following his presentation. 100 tickets will be available on a first-come, first-served basis for the opportunity to attend the in-person signing. So in order to receive a ticket, you must purchase either a James Patterson's Killer Instinct or Max Einstein's Rebels with a Cause. So only those two books. You have to purchase one of those two books at the West Virginia Book Festival book company booth. Okay, so purchase those two books there at the book festival. James Patterson will sign one approved title per person. So just one. So only sign one of those titles. Personalization and photographs will not be permitted, again, due to time constraints. He's got a very, very busy schedule. A ticket and an approved title are required to enter the signing. Doors will open for ticket lines at 7 a.m. on Saturday, October 5th. So get there at 7 a.m. to get your ticket on Saturday, October 5th. And, of course, James Patterson will have his presentation at 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, and this makes a lot of sense for anybody that's been to these signings, types of signings like this before. Authors have to have some premium on their time, and James Patterson is so popular that he has to have some kind of mitigation of exactly what's going to happen with the amount of people that's going to show up, or he would literally be there. I mean, he wouldn't be able to do anything between when he opened up the doors and when he got ready to do his presentation at 3 o'clock. And so you have to. So the books will be for sale there at the book festival. So you need to buy one of those two titles, and also have and that will be that along with your ticket to the event will be your ability to get into the in-person signings.
That's correct.
So if you have any other information, you can contact the library?
Yes, contact the library or check us out on our website, as you said, wvbookfestival.org.
I think that's the instructions are actually broken down on there as well, right?
They are.
Yeah,
yes,
so you can go to wvbookfestival.org, wvbookfestival.org. We all want you to get your book signed. There's just going to be only so many that James Patterson is going to be able to sign before the event. So once again, that's the West Virginia Book Festival. It's coming up really soon. I can't believe that we're already... Are we seriously already over halfway through September? Like I thought it was, and I live in this weird world because of the scheduling that I do here and programming and stuff. I always have a foot in the past, a foot in the present, and a foot in the future. That's 3 feet, but that's how I feel all the time. And so I can't believe that we're already like just a couple weeks away from this. I mean, it's just right around the corner. So that's going to be on Friday, October 4th from 11:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and Saturday, October 5th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's literally too many events for us to run down every single thing that's going to happen at the book festival. So I encourage you to head on over to wvbookfestival.org, wvbookfestival.org. That has all the information. There's so many menu selections on there. You can really find out exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking for the schedule of events so you can get in and out of the lectures and everything, those are on there. And the workshops, those are on there. If you're looking for the book sale, that's on there. Instructions for the autograph signings, that's on there. So you can find everything you need at wvbookfestival.org. That's wvbookfestival.org. Coming back around to talking about just your friendly neighborhood Kanawha Public Library. One of the things I wanted to touch on, and every time I go to the library, I'm a little bit of amazed, because in this day and age, the library is is kind of an interesting resource, because generally speaking, it is a nonprofit organization. So you don't charge people to come in and use the computers. So you don't charge for lending books. You don't charge, it's a public service basically, so that means, but at the same time, you still have to compete with commercial entities. So, I mean, you're competing with smartphones and tablets and computers and Kindles and, all of that stuff, all the time. But the thing is, the library is such a diverse place now for whatever activity you want to get into. Sure, the book lending is there, and I'll still tell everybody that borrowing a book from the library is still cheaper than purchasing it for your Kindle. I know that you may not, and you have ebook lending too, right?
Yes.
So if you do prefer an e-reader, like if you read while you're working out or something like that, it is hard to hold physical medium when you're working out. I get it. So if you have a Kindle that you or an e-reader of some kind that you use that for, you can get stuff through the library. But explain to us a little bit about the modern library.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, you think we have to compete, but really we're sort of working with the technology that's coming forward. So like you said, we do have you can check out ebooks as well on your Kindle or reader. You can check out audiobooks. We have
another great one. Yeah,
another great way to sort of just get your information going. We have little MP3 players called Playaways, where they have a book. It's basically a book on tape, but it's a little MP3 player. You hitch it up to your hip on your pants or whatever. Put earbuds in, and you listen to a book while you're running, while you're doing whatever.
So these are like little players that are dedicated to a single book. So it's
Yes.
like checking out the physical medium for that book. You listen to it, and then you return that item. So you don't have to worry about downloading if you have a Wi-Fi connection or anything like that. It's all right there.
Exactly.
I didn't even know that. That's really cool.
Yeah. So we got hundreds of those available as well. So we try to find ways that the library likes to adapt to what's happening in modern society, in modern times, and technology, and that's what I think the Kanawha County Public Library has done over the years. Again, we have numerous online resources. We have one of my favorite resources, Hoopla Digital. And you go to Hoopla Digital, you put in your library card number, you put in your PIN number, and you have access to ebooks, audiobooks, music, movies, and TV shows, and comic books. That's why I read my comic books.
I mean, and think about, if anybody that has like a pull list or anything for your comics, you know how expensive that gets every time that your new cycle comes out. So if you're able to do that at the library instead, that's a great resource, or to discover new titles.
Exactly, right. And they've got the latest, it's not like old stuff. It's like the latest, comic books and music and movies that come out. I remember, I'll say this, I'm a big Eminem fan. I'll just say I will. But his newest album, was on Hoopla. I got to listen to that and stream it for free.
Wow.
Instead of going to the store and buying it, you can stream it for free and just hear it. Or along with a whole bunch of other albums and music and movies and TVs and everything else. I just downloaded a bunch of ebooks for my daughter. She's 5 years old, and she wanted to, read a couple ebooks on my phone. You can play it on your phone or your Kindle or what have you, and it's right there. It's really easy. Boom, and best part, no late fees.
Oh, hey, no late fees.
On Hoopla.
As a guy that has been guilty of quite a few late fees in my life, that is that's quite a nice benefit. But things like this have the multimedia experience that you have outside of the physical media and things like that is really something that helps drive the library into the modern times. Even when I think back to, what the heck was it? The early 2000s. I was a bachelor living in Lansing, Michigan, and every weekend and some weekday evenings, I would ride my bike to the library. look around, and back then you didn't have so much that you could download or anything like that, or they didn't have a lot of that. But still, they had a huge selection of DVD media that I could get, of music media, different things along those lines. And this was my first time living out on my own. You know, I was living on a budget. I couldn't afford to go to the movies all the time or buy things all the time. So this was even after I drove around the country. You know, I would go and I would rent 2 or 3 movies, take it home over the weekend, and that's how I got. That's how I educated myself on classic films. They had such a robust selection of movies from like the 30s, 40s, and 50s, some of the classic American cinema, or even some of the foreign cinema. There was several summers where that's all I did was sit around and watch this stuff, and it was a learning experience. You know, I mean, it was nice as being a guy of the age that I was. I never really watched everything that Humphrey Bogart did, or everything that Jimmy Stewart did, or anything like that. And now I've seen all those things, and it was just because I didn't have a whole lot else to do. Couldn't take a girlfriend out on a date all the time. Couldn't afford that, you know. So I was going to the library, and I met some people there. Got to know a lot of the staff there. They kind of got to know me by name a little bit, and that's one of the nice things about the library too, is that there's people there you interact with. It's not just a building you go to and download stuff and jack in. There's people like yourself. I mean, probably not checking out books, but still, you have the librarians and stuff that are there. That it's a nice social interaction.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a community hub, as we like to call it. You know, people can come in and just, you know, again, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from or what you think. You know, you can come in here and have these discussions, have these interactions with other real life, flesh and blood people, you know, and really learn something from one another, and, you know, be a part of the community. It's a great way to get to know your neighbors, get to know the people around you, you know, get to know what they think, you know, let them know what you think, and this is how society, you know, thrives.
Absolutely.
By being able to interact with one another.
Just several minutes left in the program. One thing I did want to get to, September is, I think it's Library Month, and isn't it like a National Library Month or something? It's Library Card Month too, right?
Yeah, it's Library Card Sign-Up Month at KCPL. So I think it is Library Month as well, just in general.
Like I think I just saw it on my calendar with those lists of all the monthly holidays or whatever.
Every month is Library Month.
Exactly, yeah, that's good. But Library Card Month, so is this like almost like a membership drive, like encouraging people to sign up and get their library cards?
It is a bit, yeah. So, you know, Library Card Sign-Up Month is every September here at Kanawha County Public Library. So we are encouraging people to come in who do not have a library card to come in and get your free library card.
Free's for me.
And, you know, and with a library card, of course, you can access thousands upon thousands upon thousands of resources, books, music, movies, all the stuff that we've been talking about, you know, absolutely for free. But, you know, a little extra caveat to getting a library card this particular month is, you know, for new people who don't have a card and want to get a new one, you get a very exclusive, very, very cool exclusive KCPL Pebble Pen, which, you know, is kind of cool. We've given out almost every year. We have a different type of pen that we give out during this time, and people seem to really like it. And this one's no different. It's really great. It's got like little water in it. It's pebbles that go up and down. It's really cool.
Very
That's
nice.
all I can say. I wish I had one.
You know a guy, right? Come on, you can find it. So that's looking for to get your library cards. What's the age, the basement for getting a library card? Like, when can I? My daughter's 15 months. When can I get her a card?
You can get her one right now.
Right now.
Yeah, right now.
So it's September. It's Library Card Month, and truth be told, my wife and I talked about it this weekend. We'd already been planning on running down to get her a library card, but this actually works out perfectly because we can get one of those pens.
There you go. Absolutely.
And she doesn't need it, so maybe I can give it to you.
I appreciate it.
She can't write yet. She has a hard enough time with those big triangular crayons. I don't think she's ready for a pen yet. So it's Library Card Sign Up Month here in September. You go down to the library. You can't sign up online, can you?
No, we can't sign up online, unfortunately, yet. But definitely come on in. We have 11 branches throughout the county.
So you can find a place.
So you can find a place to come on in and sign up. And if you already have a library card, I know you're thinking, oh, well, what can I do? I have a library card. Well, if you come into the branch, any branch close to you, and you verify, update, or add an email address to your account, then you can be eligible for a $5 Subway gift card.
Hey, now.
So,
that sounds like me, because I think that I need to do that. Come to think of it, hey, that's a free $5 footlong. I mean, what can you do?
There you go.
So head on down to your local library branch. You can go to kanawhalibrary.org, kanawhalibrary.org, and find out all kinds of locations and things that you need to get to get your library card, if that's what you need, or to renew, update your information, whatever it might be. Another thing that's coming up in September, a few minutes left in the program, you're talking about banned books. books. And so you're going to have a banned book reading challenge coming up this month.
Yes, Banned Books Reading Challenge coming up during Banned Books Week. Now, this is a national event that the whole country go, libraries, bookstores all over the country.
Just so they're not banning books. This is highlighting books that for whatever reason people have banned, and so bringing those to the forefront. I mean, there's some ridiculous books that are on this list, but that's why the library is here, is to show people there's nothing to be scared of in the written word.
Exactly. Banned Books Week is a time to celebrate our freedom to read and our freedom to think however we want to think and not be beholden by the censors. People out there who want to not show you not tell you what to do or tell you what to think, and we're like, no, we're going to think and read what we want to read. So that's the celebration. That's the spirit behind Banned Books Week. And like I said, you'll be surprised at things. Harry Potter was just banned last month.
I know.
In Nashville, I think it was.
Who would have known that switching around a few letters in Latin, basically creating your own language of nonsense, because the reason they were banned is apparently those spells are real.
Yeah, apparently
you can actually read spells from the Harry Potter books, and my goodness, you can tap the dark forces of Voldemort or whatever. And
don't say his name.
Oh yeah, you can't say his. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, honestly, when you think about some of it, and then there's the nefarious reasons too, when some books seem like that they're getting banned, so you can't understand the cultural heritage that we have in a lot of areas. The way that certain things used to be written about that we look at now and we're like, we shouldn't have been writing about things in that way. The thing is that it exists it could be considered a dark place in our history, but you have to have those things there. Otherwise, how are you ever going to learn from what happened in the past if you just whitewash everything, if you just pretend like it didn't happen? And then there's just what certain words are being used or themes, or I mean, although it wasn't banned in the United States, I don't think, like even something like Salman Rushdie's satanic verses. Mm-hmm. People are like, oh, satanic verses, that must be terrible. When you read it, it's not that big of a deal. It's really not. It was more of a cultural thing with the religion of his area, and the reason that it caused problems. But when you read the thing, it's just kind of a funny book. I mean, It's not really that big of a deal. But that's all coming up. So if somebody wants to participate in the reading challenge, what do they need to do?
Yeah, all you need to do is read a banned book from the week of September 22nd through September 28th. Read a book during that week, a banned book. Go to your local library. There'll be a display up about banned book. Go sign fill out the little card, drop it in the box, and you will be eligible to win a $25 Amazon gift card. That is the best. Man, it's so much great things going over at the library. And as someone who's that's a library supporter, that's gone to the library a bunch, even time passes you by. You look at your website, and I'm looking at all the things that you do now. I'm like, holy, it kind of blows my mind a little bit. It really does. I look down through there, and with your just at the library itself, all the different events that you have throughout the week, I'm like, no, I could do that. Okay, I could see that. Oh, maybe I could take the baby to that. I mean, there's all kinds of things that's going on over there. It's really such a wonderful resource that we have in our community, conveniently located at different locations, including the one that we have downtown here. It's just a wonderful place to still know that it's there, that we take care of, and it's there for anybody who needs it. Absolutely. So, definitely come on out. Again, open and free to the public. Come on in, check out our website, check out our Facebook page, our Twitter page, Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr, and YouTube. You are massively connected. There's no doubt about that. We'll throw out a couple of those there. You can find the Kanawha Library on Instagram and Twitter at Kanawha Library. On Facebook, just do a search for Kanawha Library. Same thing on YouTube. I don't know if you're on TikTok and all that, but that's a little bit beyond me, so I can't really, that's a little younger than what I am. I've had a great discussion this morning. Stuart Frazier's been here. He's the marketing coordinator for the Kanawha Public Library. Stuart, thank you so much for your time this morning. I really had a great time. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I hope you come back and see us and give us an update of what's going on with the library. Absolutely. Thank you very much. That is Stuart Frazier. You can find out more information online, kanawhalibrary.org, kanawhalibrary.org. The book festival coming up, wvbookfestival.org, wvbookfestival.org. I'm Del Cooper. You've been listening to Ask the Expert. You can catch this show on podcast, WCHSnetwork.com/podcast. Have a great day, everyone. Mayor Danny Jones is coming up after news. This is 580 former mayor. This is 580 WCHS, the voice of Charleston.
580 WCHS AM, 96.5 FM Charleston, and 104.5 FM Cross Lanes, a West Virginia Radio Corporation station. It's 9 o'clock.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Iran's leader now completely ruling out any talks with the U.S. after American officials blamed Iran for the attack on that Saudi oil facility. President Trump says it's